You're on the Six Screens Telenetwork, earning the reputation of giving all the right ingredients, uninhibited, in exposing the hard, cold facts about the Watchtower Society. And now, in Disney.
Well, here we go again, March 19th, 2022, and we are counting down the last days of the Watchtower organization. Wow, we are going to have a great time tonight. We've got a lot of stories. Boy, the Watchtower is in the news big time all over the world, and we'll report it tonight right here on JW World News. Well, what do you think? What do you think? Boy, I'm going to tell you, it is wonderful. It is wonderful being an ex-Jehovah's Witness. Man, I feel so good. I could do the happy dance here tonight. I'm very, very excited. And the reason is because, hey, the Watchtower's tanking. It really, really is. I'm not looking through rose-colored glasses. I'm telling you, something is very strange in that organization. They are doing a terrible job at trying to maintain their truthful organization. It's not the truth. We all know it. Well, anyways, my name is Rick Farron, and welcome into the apostate capital of the world, as we say. We do have a lot of apostates up here, and I'm glad of that, and plenty of company. And don't you ever worry where you are. I don't care where you may be, anywhere around the world. You're going to have a lot of apostates joining you and visiting you and being company for you as well, because I got news for you. As you guys already know, many, many people are leaving the Watchtower. Boy, I'll tell you, Saturday night, what a great night. We've been doing this for 16 years. We've never missed a Saturday night. We are here because you are here. And really, when you stop and think about it, many, many people, they really totally rely on this program. They really rely on this program so that they can get their feelings together. I'm just going to mute some people here. When you guys are not speaking, you want to hit *6, and that will mute you. Dick, if you do that, and Christine as well, hit *6. That'll mute you. All right, let's do that. So yeah, you want to stay up to date on what's going on behind the Watchtower. I don't know what the fascination is, but the fascination seems to be we just can't get enough of their con artistry, their scamming of people. We've all been scammed. Everybody listening to this program, for the most part, has been scammed by one of the greatest scam organizations in the world, the Watchtower. So when we see all of a sudden they are backed against the corner, it's like watching a sports game, right? We want to see them. We want to see the team we don't like lose, and we don't like the Watchtower. And right now they are losing. Well, let's get into it. Well, let's talk about some of the stories that are going on behind the Watchtower. I'm going to see if I can't put let me get off of here for a second, and I'm going to put up a picture. I'm going to put a picture up, and you're going to be, maybe some of you guys have seen the picture, but let me get that up here right now so you'll see if you're on YouTube. Well, there you go. Those are two Jehovah's Witness elders. Those two men right there, well, they're in big time trouble. Michael Pencava and Colin Scott. They were both found guilty this week, just yesterday, as a matter of fact. They were both found guilty in Illinois for covering up child sex abuse. Wow, that is so wonderful to see that the state of Illinois came down on these guys. Yes, Jehovah's Witness elders are guilty in failing to report sexual abuse of a 6-year-old child. And this goes on and on and on. And this isn't the only story of sexual abuse in the Watchtower that we got going here tonight. Every week we talk about child abuse in the Watchtower. Now, the elders in this case, they're facing up to 1 year of jail, and the sentencing is going to start next week on March 25th. Boy, do I like to hear that. Oh, I love to read that, up to 1 year in jail. I know that doesn't sound like an awful lot, but I'll tell you, one of these elders was 88 years old. That's going to take a toll on him. And I'm going to tell you something. Prisoners do not like anything to do with child sex abuse. Now, if you're a pedophile, it's even worse. But if they find out you were covering it up, these guys might not get out of prison alive. That's a possibility.
Oh, Rick?
Yes, Braden.
Oh, I was just going to say to touch on to that. Just a couple of quick points. In jail, like you had mentioned, like even some of the most sadistic criminals that exist out there still have a code, like against children and people who are pedophiles and people who have
Go ahead.
Sorry. What I was just saying is that also for the Watchtower, the thing is that, you know what, eventually everything comes to light, and we are just beginning to see, this might be the start of something. This might be the tipping point where the whole organization is checked at. Because just this case alone, even though it may seem little, it might get other jurisdictions thinking. So this could have positive consequences. Rick, what do you think?
Yeah, well, we'll talk about that. As we get further through the story here. But thank you for checking in. Appreciate it. And mute yourself now. When you go off, hit *6 again, so that'll mute you, okay?
Okay, sounds good, Rick.
All right, good. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, so anyways, this is out in Illinois, and we got two elders that are guilty, knowingly and willingly failing to report to the authorities in 2006 that a 6-year-old child in their church, in their Kingdom Hall, was being sexually assaulted by a congregant, by a member of the Kingdom Hall, a congregation. So not reporting the sexual abuse permitted the abuse to go on for another 12 years. Can you imagine that? This poor young girl, 6 years old, was being abused, and it went on for a number of years more because it wasn't reported. Now, the ruling follows 2 years of hearings. Yeah, this case has been going on for quite a while. 2 years of hearing. And man, I'm telling you, this, as Brandon was just saying, as you just heard him on here, this could set a precedent. Now, the man, Brother Hernandez Petraza, well, he's the one here that was creating the problem. He's the predator, a 44-year-old member of the church. I'm reading right from the newspaper here, but member of the Kingdom Hall. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So he's convicted sexual assault and other crimes related to the girl's ongoing sexual abuse. How many stories of sexual abuse do we have to read here in the Watchtower? It's just absolutely unbelievable how many stories every week as I do the news. I could give you 2 or 3 stories sometimes in one night. So neither police nor the Department of Children and Family Services was notified until the victim was 18 years old, when she told church elders that the abuse continued. So from 6 years old, now I want you to just stop and think about this. From 6 years old to 18 years old in this congregation, this girl was being abused by this predator. That is almost unbelievable, isn't it? The girl endured countless sexual assaults and even death threats by her abuser throughout her childhood. Yeah, this brother Petraza, well, he's something else. They did put him away. They put him away. He is now serving 45 years in prison. So that's good. Brother Petraza's put away. I don't think he'll ever get out of there alive. But the court this week, just yesterday, they wanted to now see what they're going to do with these two elders, Michael Pencarver and Colin Smith. Well, Pencarver, Elder Pencarver, well, he's 72 years old. Colin Scott, 88 years old. Well, they were both found guilty of a Class A criminal misdemeanor for violating provisions of the state's mandatory reporter law. And as I said earlier, they both face up to 1 year in jail. Now, you hear the word misdemeanor, and, you hear the word violating, reporting sex abuse. It almost sounds like it should be more than a misdemeanor, right? But, the criminal here at Petraza, the real criminal, he didn't get a misdemeanor. It's felony. He's in court for 45 years. But Pencarver and Scott, the elders, they got a criminal misdemeanor charge, and they're going to go to jail, it looks like, for up to a year. But I don't think they'll spend a year, but they'll probably get out after about 6 months. But now just think of them.
They get no time. They won't serve any time.
Mike, let's just let it go. We'll see what happens. I mean, I'm just doing the news, right?
Yeah, well, you're on here talking. You want to see an 88-year-old man murdered in jail? That's kind of.
Hey, listen, Mike. Now, I'm going to tell you. Let's knock off the baloney, okay? I didn't say I want to.
No, the man is 88. You want to put him.
Did I? I'm not the judge. I'm not the.
On here,
I am.
All excited about he's going to go to jail and maybe they'll whack him. That's disgusting.
Hey, listen. Why don't you buzz off for the night before I ban you for life? Any more comments from you, and you're going to be banned for life. I'm serious. If you can't come, you're putting words in my mouth. I wasn't gleeing over that. I'm just reporting the newspaper. I said he's 88 years old. He's going to jail. What's his chances of getting out, Mike? What's his chances? I mean, what are you? I mean, what are you, a northern redneck? Are you aware of what's going on in the world? Really, Mike? I know you live way up there in the northern peninsula.
I am aware. And I'm going to tell you, I'm assuming they won't even get.
Really, you got to get with it, Mike. You got to start, getting into the. Can you ever get down to Detroit? Do you get down to the cities once in a while? I think the country's doing a job on you.
Oh, I wouldn't go in Detroit. Go in Netherlands, man. They'll shoot you.
All right. Well, just back off for a while.
Listen, Mike, just let me add a thought and tell Mike this. Mike, Rick is not happy that an 88-year-old guy is going to go to prison and probably die there. What he's happy about, and what I'm happy about, is the fact that Jehovah's Witnesses, the congregations, are being brought to task for covering up something that's really bad. If this gets out, and I'm sure it will, to other congregations, the molesting that's happening in all of these congregations throughout the whole world will take a dramatic fall. That's what he's happy about. He's happy about an 88-year-old man going to prison.
I don't think an 80-year-old man should go to prison, and it was implied that, they don't like child molesters. They won't get out of here. So I took it that you're hoping somebody whacks the guy. I find that that's disgusting. But I'm not going to say.
Well, Mike, you read into many things. You put words in my mouth I didn't say. I mean, come on. I mean, what are you supposed to be, some type of a psychic? I didn't say anything like that. That's just you thinking it. I didn't say anything like that. I feel bad for the guy. 88. You think the judge would have cut him some slack?
Hi, Rick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Rick. It's Roland again. Yeah,
yes.
Hi. My daughter was molested by an elder. He's in his 80s now. If he went to prison, I wouldn't lose 1 minute's sleep over it. He was the one that committed the offence. It wasn't the child. It wasn't the court. It wasn't anybody else. It was him. He committed the offence. If he doesn't want to go to prison for a year, if he doesn't want to take the chance of getting beaten up in prison, that's his fault. It's not anybody else's fault. It's his fault. And it's not disgusting. It's disgusting, Mike, that he raped a child or he molested a child I had it happen to my daughter. I didn't know for years, and she only told me after I left. She's kept that to herself for years, and he's put her off religion for life. Now, if that guy, he's in his 80s, if he goes to prison, if he went to prison now, I would not lose a moment's sleep. And if he does get beat up in prison, that's his own fault. He was the one that put himself there, nobody else.
Well, Roland,
If you do the crime, you should be willing to do the time.
there you go.
Absolutely.
But see, what we got here, Roland and Dick, is Mike is a northern redneck. You know, if he ever got himself a girlfriend and even settled down and got married and got a couple of children, and one of those children got diddled by a pedophile, I think he'd have the same feeling, Roland. I really, really do. You know, he
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, when you got children, when you got children, it's a different matter. When your child has been molested and when you have suffered at the hands of the Watchtower, then they deserve all they get. I'm afraid. I'm sorry, I've got no sympathy whatsoever with them.
Well, my understanding is that this 88-year-old guy wasn't the molester. Am I wrong? I thought that he was being accused because he didn't report him.
Well, that's exactly. That's right.
Well, even if he did, Mike, the point is he's covering up for a paedophile. If he's covering up for a paedophile, he's complicit in that, in what has happened. If he's not helping, then he's hindering, and if he's hindering, then he should be put in prison for it.
I don't think somebody 88 years old needs to go to jail. I don't, and I'm pretty confident he won't serve it. Mike, if an 88-year-old man come and murdered you or one of your family, you think they should just go scot-free, do you? It's no different. It's still the law has been broken. Well, sometimes they let people out of prison if they're really, really old, if they can find somebody to take care of them. I mean, 88 years old.
Certainly not in England today. I mean, I've certainly seen a lot of molesters of that age go to prison, and they've spent the rest of their life there, and it hasn't been a good time for them, because even in this country, in prison, they hate molesters and they hate people who cover up child molestation. Rape and child molestation is the two things in prisons that you will get, beaten up for, or you'll get topped off. And I'm sorry, but if you've done the crime, then, you put up with what you make your bed, you lie in it, I'm afraid.
Well, there you go.
So,
well, we got it rolling.
Yeah,
go.
Carry on, sorry.
All right, that's good. No, in fact, that's good. So let's just go with the story. Let's move on. But see, what it was, they were trying to get off. The attorney for these two elders was trying to get them off under the protection of a confessional process. Well, it's the same way the Catholic Church, Roman Catholic Church, deals with confession inside a confessional booth. Now, they were trying to use that same protection process as the Catholic Church, but the judge wasn't buying it. The judge was not buying it. So anyways, the sad thing about it, and I do say that, 88 years old, it's kind of hard to have to go to prison at that point. But the judge was saying that Pencava, of course, one of the elders, was trained as a church elder. He was trained, and he should have sought advice that could have helped him not to want to cover this up. And it was suggested that he should have got advice from the Jehovah's Witness World Headquarters. Well, come to find out, he did, but we'll get into that in a second. This is the strangest thing about it. The abuse was handled, according to these elders, through spiritual guidance from the organization. And it was being directed by Jehovah's Witness lawyers. But let's not, I just want you to come to grips with something here that I found very unusual. Very unusual. One of the elders, when they found out about, when the girl came forward and confessed that, listen, I've been being raped here, and this man has been doing it for 18 years of my life. Now, when he found out about that, he immediately called the headquarters, because that's what the elders are supposed to do. They're supposed to call the world headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses. So he called, now listen to this. This is the craziest thing. So he calls the headquarters of Jehovah's Witnesses, and he wanted to speak with someone there that could advise him on what to do concerning this situation the elder found himself in. So anyways, Penn Carver, the elder, he says that he basically got advice from the Watchtower, but he never even got the man's name that answered the phone. He just simply said to the man when he asked for the legal department, he asked if he could get some advice on sexual abuse in his congregation in Illinois. And so the person on the phone, some brother at the world headquarters, told Penn Carver, the elder, said, well, don't worry, it's we'll take care of it here. You reported it to us and we'll take care of it. Well, they never did anything. And this is what really ticked the judge off out there. So the judge was saying this is nothing but ignorance born out of carelessness, recklessness, and stupidity is basically what it was. Would you have a young girl now, she's 18. She comes to you, you're the elder. She says that I've been being abused sexually for 12 years of my life. 12 years of my life. And so now you call up the headquarters and they say, well, we'll take care of it. I mean, would you want to get a name from somebody? I would. I'd say, well, who am I speaking to here? Well, they probably wouldn't have gave you a name anyways. So this really, what this should do, this should send chills down the spines of all elders that are listening into this program tonight. You have got to be walking right now on thin ice. And if your wife is listening, she's going to talk to you. I'll tell you right now, she's going to get you aside and say, hey, I don't want you involved. I want to keep our house. I don't want to lose our house. I don't want to lose our car. So the elders are throwing these guys under the bus, really. They're throwing them under the bus. And the other thing, too, that I find, you're not going to go to jw.org and you're not going to read about this on jw.org. You're going to read about how wonderful their witness charity work is. You're going to read how wonderful their disaster relief is, but you're not going to read about these two elders are going to be sentenced to prison. Unbelievable. But didn't David Splain, one of the governing body members, just recently say about, I believe it was back in November. I believe it was in November, December. Didn't he come on JW Broadcasting and didn't he tell Jehovah's Witnesses to ignore news just like this? You're going to hear stories, but it's all being made up. So he's telling, geez, this is not made up. I'm reading it right out of an Illinois newspaper. I wish the witnesses would do it. But for an organization that calls itself the truth, they sure love to hide the real truth, don't they? They hide the real truth about themselves. What do you think? You want to come in? You want to say something? You're on with us. Go ahead.
The truth about the truth.
Yeah, the truth about the truth, Jeff. Well, they claim they got the truth, but boy, they tell a lot of lies, don't they, to keep the truth? Boy, I'll tell you.
They sure do, Rick.
Yeah. All right.
One thing I just want the audience to know is these reports of Jehovah's Witnesses covering up child molestation, these reports of Jehovah's Witnesses having big expensive homes and driving expensive cars, all these reports, if they were lies, Jehovah's Witnesses with a battalion of lawyers that they have on staff would go after these people that are deframing, or making the Jehovah's Witnesses look really, really bad. But they don't, because it's true. In Rutherford's day, this brother, second in charge, I guess, came out and said, Rutherford's a trunk, he's a womanizer, and a whole bunch of stuff. And he sent his battalion of lawyers after this one guy. Well, when it went to court, the guy that turned him, did expose what a liar Rutherford was exonerated, and Rutherford had egg on his face. So when the Jehovah's Witness organization tells you, don't listen to these apostates, don't listen to these news reports, don't listen to what you read that's negative about Jehovah's Witnesses. want the audience to know that if these things were lies, the Jehovah's Witnesses governing body would be suing the people that are slandering them. And the reason they're not suing these people is because what the negative stories that are coming out about the Watchtower are all true. That's where the real truth is. The truth is Jehovah's Witness governing body are liars, and they come from Satan the devil. Thank you.
Well, good comment, Dick. Thank you very much. So what we got is, yes, Randy.
You know, you mentioned about how they wouldn't give a name anyway. They never will give their name out. You know, when you call the headquarters or when you get letters, they don't sign their name. And I always thought that was probably so they couldn't be held accountable. That was what I thought. So during my litigation, the question I asked them under interrogation was why that is, why they don't ever do that. And you know what their answer was in a sworn affidavit? Was that they don't need to, because whatever answer is given, it means the entire department was in unison. They all knew about everything and they were in unison. And I thought, oh, wow, you know, what a way to get by. But when the investigative reporter, what's his name, Trey Bundy, he was here, and when he read that court documents of mine, he said he thinks that's actually going to someday come back and bite him in the rear, because now they just open the whole department up to prosecution, because that means the whole department, not just one elder or one lawyer, but the whole department would be guilty of it.
Well, good comment. Thank you, Randy, for sharing that with us. I just want to say one thing too, because a lot of people are unmuted. Now, listen, if you do have your phone unmuted and you're going to talk, remind yourself that that's a microphone. If you're doing dishes or watching TV in the background, you know, don't keep your phone unmuted, because, you know, we're going to pick up on all of that. So help me out with that. If you're going to leave it unmuted, put a Kleenex or a towel or something over the phone. All right. So we got more people coming in right now. Who wants to say? Go ahead, Anne-Marie from California. Go ahead, Anne-Marie.
Hi, thank you, Rick. Yeah, I just find it amazing and interesting and ironic that for years since I was a little kid, Watchtower so often poke fun at the Catholic Church from the podium and in their literature, call the Catholic Church especially a den of demons, point out their false doctrines and joke about them and make fun of them and call them evil. But yet, when one of their practices serves their best interest, they act like, oh, that's somehow validation for what evil they do. But the Catholic Church priest who is in the confessional does not ask unnecessary, intimate questions of someone who confesses to a sexual sin, much less a rape victim or a molestation victim. And that priest does not go blabbing to other people about that confession, you know, what happened or whatever. They comfort them. They offer them means of gaining peace before God. I'm not saying I agree with it, but they do it in a loving way to help them feel better in their relationship to God. But yet Watchtower elders, and Watchtower especially, is not really the elders, because I feel like the elders are the ones that are the Gestapo enforcers. They're the ones that are tasked with having to enforce what Watchtower leaders command. But what Watchtower elders do, they're supposed to be loving shepherds, but yet they form these at least 3 members, sometimes more, called a judicial committee, and they will grill and drill and drive a lot of people to crazy, to suicide, to severe depression, and chastise them terribly. And it's terribly so sad. But anyway, thank you for letting me point that out. But the thing is, people have to start realizing, like Dick said, and everyone else, the truth about the truth. They love to proclaim how great and wonderful and glorious they are. But when anything comes out that exposes them, they say, oh, don't watch that. Don't watch that program. Don't watch that documentary. Don't watch that video. Don't listen to that person. It's all lies from Satan. How convenient. Thank you, Rick.
Well, thank you, Anne-Marie. Hey, you got a good point there, and we got some other callers we'll bring right in too. So hang on here. We got a lot of people want to speak up, but let me just kind of.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah, hold on one second. I just want to bring up one thought here that Anne-Marie had. The church, the Catholic Church, they get off on confession, and it's because it's one priest listening in, and he doesn't go tattle everything. The reason why the Jehovah's Witnesses in many courts, most courts, in fact, most of the court cases I've been following are witnesses, they don't get penitent privilege. And the reason is because it's like a tribunal of elders that listen in to the problem. So you got 3 or 4 men that are aware of it. Now, what do you think these elders do? They go home, they have a couple of beers, and their wife says, well, how you doing, honey? What was brought up today? Well, Sister Jones, she came and told us she was having some problems. I mean, they'll tattle. That's what happens. The church, the Catholic Church doesn't do that. So that's why a lot of these courts, they won't give the Jehovah's Witnesses penitent privilege. Yeah, I believe we had Daniel from Michigan. Go ahead, Daniel. I think it was him. I think we got California. California on with us. Go ahead.
Hi, Rick. It's Constance.
Yes, Constance.
Hi, Rick. Hi, dear. I was going to say, well, first of all, just a couple things, and I'll be brief. That penitent privilege is something Watchtowers, they'll try any trick or any game they can, Rick, to straddle the laws, whatever is in their favor. And penitent privilege is something that the Catholic Church has always used because, like Anne-Marie said, it's when a person goes into the confession box, it's one-on-one. Well, of course, with Watchtower, that's not the case, but Watchtower is going to try to use any trick up their sleeve so that they don't have to pay for any lawsuits. But the other thing I wanted to say is my heart goes out to that little girl. I mean, can you imagine being 6 years of age and you've been sexually abused for 12 years till she's 18, till she's an adult? And the trauma, Rick, I mean, I can't even imagine how that has just destroyed her life and all the trauma and the pain that she's going to really need to be able to heal from that. And the last point, honey, I wanted to say is, Watchtower's been doing, molestation, sexual abuse all the way back since the 40s, is what Barbara Anderson said. And even, Rick, it goes farther back than that because the first president, Russell, I mean, his wife, Maria, divorced him because he was molesting their adopted child. Her last name was Ball. So even Charles Taze Russell was a child molester. And, a lot of people who are witnesses right now, they don't even know their history. But it dates all the way back to that point. So to that time and with Charles Taze Russell. So thank you, Rick.
Well, always good to hear from Constance. Thank you, Constance. All right. Any more? Yes, go ahead.
Rick, can I say something? That's a lie.
No, listen. Well, what gives you the right, Mike, to just come in and butt over somebody else? Why don't you just wait your turn? Okay.
She said something that was a lie. She said that Russell was not a child molester.
All right. Well, what do you want to say? What do you want to say to refute it?
Well, his wife, you can look at the court record. She said she didn't believe that he committed adultery.
Well, wait a minute. They took this Rose Ball in. She was 4. She was.
Yeah, I understand.
Let me tell the story. I mean, the rest of the audience might not know. So Russell took this Rose Ball young girl, 14 years old, into his house and was living with them. And one day, and this is all recorded in Watchtower publication, one day, Maria Russell, that would have been Russell's wife, she was walking through the room upstairs, and she saw Russell kneeling down by the said bedside of this 14-year-old girl. Does that look good?
You believe that he was a child molester?
Well, I'm not. Look at. I don't know if he was or not because I don't.
You don't know.
Wait a minute. I didn't. First of all, I never said he was. Okay, but all circumstantial.
You're the person that said, "I'm just trying to state a fact here." Someone said something that wasn't true.
Well, give us a fact.
She called him a jellyfish, Mike. The wife called her husband a jellyfish.
He couldn't keep his hands off women.
Read the records, Mike. Read the record.
You're a liar. That's
Hey,
and
hey, listen. Why don't listen? Conscience is not a liar. You're a screwball.
Oh,
You're a
he's
northern.
liar, Rick.
You're a
He
northern.
is
You're a
liar.
you're a northern redneck with no sense at all. If your wife calls you a jellyfish,
You know,
because
you know what, Rick? I don't appreciate. You don't know a damn thing about me. I don't appreciate you making personal jabs at me, making fun of me.
oh well, you're always
You
making.
don't know
You
anything
listen.
about me.
Listen, I'm going to ban you for life. Just keep it. Just stay. You can listen in, but I don't want to hear from you again.
This guy, Rick.
I don't. In fact, I'm getting ready. Okay, I'm getting very ready. Just cool it, man. Okay.
Good, Rick. Ban this guy.
Yeah, he's a pain in the ass.
Ban him.
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's go on.
I don't appreciate personal attacks. You're sitting there. You're the whole.
All right. Yeah, he's a.
Rick, can I get back on the subject?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Go ahead, Randy.
I just wanted to you mentioned about, you know, how they no doubt would go tell their wives, and that's that many more now that's revealing this supposedly confidential stuff. Well, you know, they're going to all lie. They're going to deny they wives, but they're not going to be able to lie if you ask them, well, who did you tell at the world headquarters? So there you've got a whole department of men that know about it up there. That's just increased the number.
Well, there you go, Randy. No, thank you for sharing that with us. And I mean, you had firsthand information on this, and they don't want to share their names. You call them up, and no, they want your name. Oh, they always want your name, but oh no, they won't give their name. Yeah, I have to really say that. My goodness, this ruling in Illinois is certainly going to be something among the elders. I really believe elders are going to hear about this, and maybe it'll make many of these elders go straight when they have a child abuse case in their congregation. Maybe they'll go straight to the police when these crimes are committed, and they're not going to just take the information from the Watchtower and cover it up. Hopefully that'll happen. I hope that will happen. Well, here on JW World News, if you want to speak up, you want to talk about this before we move to another story, go ahead. What do you think about this case in Illinois? What do you think? One more comment, we'll move to another story. Yes, go ahead.
Hey, this is Chad from Illinois. I've never been a JW. I'm a sister. I have an apologetics ministry, and I'd love to give you a little bit more insight into this if you'd like it.
Oh, yeah, no, of course I like it. I mean, I don't know. I'm telling, I'm just reading from the newspaper. But if you have more information, I'll take it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the thing. When those elders did not report it, they then became abettors to felony sexual assault. So that's a felony charge. Now, you want to talk about the mercy of the justice system, because I know that one guy was really upset and, they shouldn't go to jail. Okay, this is the mercy of the justice system. They had them for aiding and abetting in a sexual crime. That's a felony. They committed conspiracy by covering it up. That's a felony. Now, in Illinois, if you're a mandated reporter, you have to call the Department of Family Children Services to report a crime such as child sexual assault. Now, I'm a minister, so I had to learn all this stuff. Now, that's the bare minimum you have to do. You have to call immediately. In the churches I've been affiliated with, we had it completely different. We said that's not enough because it can take DCFS sometimes 2-3 days to get on the ball about this. In our church, we had it set up that if a person came to us professing to be a victim of abuse or a sexual crime, whatever it is, immediately we make sure they are in immediate safety from the person victimizing them. We do not let them out of our sight. We keep them safe from the person who's terrorizing them. Immediately, we call the police. We get the police involved immediately. We start the record that way. As soon as we are done with the police, then we call the Department of Children and Family Services. That way, They will be getting a report from the police and a report from us. It is not in any way going to slip through the cracks. Now, the Jehovah's Witnesses don't do that. Instead, they go calling the headquarters, which means they call their legal department. Why do they call the legal department? Because once they contact the legal department, they then have attorney-client privilege. And if the legal department says, "Oh, don't report it," it's then it's supposed to exonerate the elder from culpability. However, it doesn't because of the mandatory reporting law, which is what they were initially charged with. The state knew about, them contacting the legal department, but they still had them on what they were charged with, which was failure to report the crime.
Well, there you go, Chad. So, my goodness, well, thank you for filling us in on that. You seem to know a lot about that, but thank you for your knowledge on that. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, and in Illinois, they actually, because of this case, they've now, in the Illinois Assembly, they've now passed a new law for mandatory reporters. Anyone who's going to be filling in the role of a mandatory reporter has to go through a state certification process. Once certified, they have to renew it every 3 years. That way, it's a guarantee this is not going to happen again. And if it does happen, the reporter who doesn't report is going to be facing felony charges.
Wow. Well, that's a good. I like that law. Now, I'm curious. Now, you never were a Jehovah's Witness. What's your fancy with the 6 screens? Just want to hear about witnesses, do you?
I have a love for people who were trapped in the Watchtower and got out of it. I've watched people who come out of non-Christian cults. I've seen them wander. I've seen them get eaten up. I've known 1 or 2 that have committed suicide. And I think it's just a shame. And my dad raised me that when you see evil, you confront it. You do not let it pass you by. And I mean, that's how all of us boys were raised. So when I see evil happening, I don't care where it is, I'm going to address it. And I don't care what it costs. So, I've studied apologetics as a Christian, and I see the damage that the Watchtower does to people in their relationships, in their thinking, in their education, in their marriages, and their family lives. And it's just horrible. And as a Christian, it's so anti-biblical. It hurts me to even see it. So I try whenever I can to speak up against evil. And when I see a Jehovah's Witness, I know they're a potential victim. And whoever's making someone a victim is committing evil.
Well, good for you. You had a good dad. You had a very good dad, and that's what people should do. And, I've been chastised before because I'm a Christian man myself, and I've been chastised before by other Christians. Why do you speak up against the witnesses? Well, doesn't Ephesians tell us to expose the darkness? And that's what we do. We have to expose the darkness. But thank you, Chad. You're a good man. Don't you ever change. Don't be a stranger. Don't be a stranger. Thank you.
Thanks. Hey, Rick.
Yes.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah, let's go. We had two people talking at once. Go ahead. The first one, go ahead.
Is that me?
I think so. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess now. Right. We were just blessed to have that Minister Chad on there. He certainly set things straight for us. One thing that I would say is in that Illinois situation where you have a 6-year-old being sexually molested, as that child grows up, there's more and more of a threat to the pervert that was messing with him, that he might kill him, because once he gets old enough and tells people, that person's life, if he doesn't spend the rest of his life in jail and lose his job and his wife and his family or whatever he has, it's a good law that if you know about a pedophile, that you reported to the police. You may save a child's life. Thanks, Rick.
Oh, that's great. That's great. We had another fella. Go ahead. Okay. Well, let's hope. All right. Like I say, if you guys, why don't you put if you're done speaking, hit *6. That'll mute the phone. And remember now, that phone's like a microphone. We're gonna pick up on dishes rattling, TV programs. So keep it covered if you have it unmuted. Okay, let's take a look. We got more stories going on. Hopefully, that Illinois story will work against the witness.
Can I say one more?
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Hey there, Rick.
Hold on, Braden. Let Anne-Marie speak. Yep.
Thank you. I just think of the elders, the ones who are arrogant and don't care and just care about their power and position and authority, probably won't be too bothered that much about this reporting issue and those victims of child sexual abuse. But just imagine the poor elders who are sincerely trying to do what they think is God's will according to what the governing body instructs. And if they're instructed to call the legal department and the legal department tells them basically, well, you ask the accused if he did it, and if he says no, well, then you just leave it in Jehovah's hands. Nothing you can do. It's a terrible thing to be put between a rock and a hard place. Your conscience tells you this feels like this is a real victim here, this poor child, the poor frustrated parents, and I can't do anything, but I have to follow Jehovah's direction. And then I'm looking at how they can, either they're going to just fall apart or they just might stand down and say, I can't do this anymore. I can't be an elder, like my little brother did after 25 years. And the other thing that really kills me is, Rick, picture the governing body's legal department. They have to know that they are putting these elders in a very vulnerable position. The brothers are being gone after, while the governing body and all of the ones that are making the rules that the elders have to follow are sitting pretty. They remove themselves far away and then say, well, we never told them to do that. That was their choice. There has to be an exposing, like you said. Ephesians 5:10-14, even in the New World Translation, says don't have anything more to do with them, rather expose them for what they are. And thank you for doing it every week.
Well, there we go. Go ahead, Braden from Toronto, Canada.
Hey, I was just going to mention, Rick, it's almost like the Watchtower is in an entirely different world. The Bible tells us to be in subjection to the superior authorities, but in reality, they're not. Obviously, not reporting child abuse cases and whatnot, but it's like, it's almost, like I said, it's almost like they're in their own world. And, even though, as I said, obey the superior authorities, their way of looking at it is, well, only unless it goes against certain things, right? Like neutrality, or maybe even, I don't know, perhaps getting an investigation done on the Watchtower. But as I said before, I think, like you said, I think the bricks are beginning to fall.
Well, they are. They're coming down one by one, Braden. And listen, how do you, I know your name comes through on the phone here, but it comes through as Braden. Is it Braden or Brandon? I want to get it right,
It's Braden.
Oh, Braden. Okay. I wasn't sure because of it shows up as Braden. Yeah. Okay. That's good. All right. I got you.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Just want to make sure. Well, you've been coming yeah.
Oh, I had to share some special news with you today. I found out I'm going to be an uncle for the second time.
Well, congratulations. That's always nice. It's new family members are always good. Yes. Well, congratulations, Braden.
Yeah. And I've got another question for you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Have you ever read the book Brown Spots on the Wall by Hu Fung Ku?
No.
No. Okay, maybe that joke.
Well, listen. In fact, while you're on jokes, we got our Apostates Got Talent program. You can see, if you're on YouTube, you can see the big banner behind me. That's coming up after this program. We have 7 guests already coming in to do their talent. But near the end of the program, we're going to have just impromptu. Anyone wants to come on and voice their talent? Why don't you come on and tell a few jokes? All right.
Sounds good, Rick.
Yeah, go get some material
see you
together
all
and
later.
come in then. Thank you. I think we had a sister on there that was ready to come in. You with us, sister? Go ahead. You're on with us.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Gigi.
Gigi, could you
And
come closer
I
to
need to ask
Gigi? Could you
Michael,
Gigi? Could you come
Hello?
closer to your phone so we can hear you better?
My name is Gigi.
Yes, Gigi.
Yes, Mike. I am flabbergasted. I need to ask him, has he ever been bent over against his will and had something inserted into his body? If he hasn't, he has no right to say anything. If you haven't been in that position, you have no right to say anything.
Well, you're right. You're absolutely right. You've got to walk in the other person's shoes, Gigi. And obviously it's very troubling. Very troubling.
I have been in that position.
Am I allowed to say anything, Rick, or no?
If you can say something nice to Gigi, yes.
Say it.
No, I ain't never had to been bent over. I don't think anybody would
Well,
want
let me
me.
tell you something. From what I have heard you say, I would be the first one to lay it to you, buddy. That's right. Yeah, laugh.
I'm laughing. Well, I think you're taking whatever I said a little too seriously.
No, I'm not taking it too seriously. If you've ever had it happen to you,
Oh, believe me, I
know.
everybody can attest on here. I hate homosexuals. In fact, I hate them.
well, I'm not crazy about that act myself. But the fact of the matter is, I'm not talking about homosexuals.
And I was never defending. I'm not defending
Yes, you
child
are.
molesters.
Yes,
No, I wasn't.
you are. Yes, you are. You are
No, I'm
even
not.
as we speak. I don't even know what you're doing on here.
Well, according to Rick Farron, I don't have a life, so I guess people who don't have a life come on 6 screens.
Well, from
No,
time
I
to
think you do have a life.
time, Mike is a responsible person, and we like him, but he's very insensitive to other people's difficulties, and that I'm hoping will change for him. He's not married, he doesn't have children, he's kind of a loner, so he doesn't know what it's like to really suffer.
I'm a loner too, and you know why? Because no one has anything to do with me.
Well, Rick, that doesn't mean that just because I don't have any children doesn't mean that I don't have any empathy. I mean, that's I was a child
You can
once.
tell by
I
the
do
way
have
that
other
you
family
talk
members.
that you have no empathy.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah, okay, so okay, well, Gigi, we'll let Mike cool it now, but Gigi, thank you for coming in here.
Thank you.
Well, I
Thank
really
you
do,
for
Gigi, and listen, I'm on your side 100%, and everyone listening into this program is. I want you to know that, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Gigi.
Thank you for coming in,
everything that
Gigi.
y'all do.
I've never heard you before, but I really appreciate hearing you come
I've
in.
never
Well,
come on here before, but I have.
Well, see, Rick, I don't understand. If I don't think this guy's 88 years old. I didn't think he should go to prison or
Okay.
jail.
Hey, Rick.
If he's
Yeah,
covering
that's
up
that's
the
enough,
kind of
Mike.
crap that happened to me,
Hey, Rick.
damn right he needs to go to jail.
Yes.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah, we can't all be talking over each other here, so let's kind of let's let one person finish. Gigi and Anne Marie are talking. Go ahead, finish that up, and then we get some other people wanting to come in.
I just heard Gigi say something to the effect, if I heard her correctly, that she was basically assaulted and it was covered up. And I would like to hear what she had to say.
Well, I don't. feel good about sharing everything with everyone.
No, I didn't mean for you to share your story. I just wanted to make sure that you were heard without Mike and everybody else interrupting you.
Well, it's like this. If you have never been in that position, don't defend people that cover up the people that are hiding what happened to you.
Right. Well, it sounds like you have been a victim and been severely traumatized, and that whatever happened to you, if I heard you correctly, was covered up. And that's horrible. We're so sorry.
Well, I love this show, and I love everybody, and that's just how I feel.
Yeah. I just hear a lot of
people. For someone to come on
yes.
and say that, well, poor little 88-year-old guy. I feel bad for the 88-year-old guy because he listened to people that he shouldn't listen to.
Right.
But it's like with everything else in life, you have to pay whether you meant for it to happen or not.
Right. Personal responsibility. Exactly. And that's pretty much what Rick is pointing out. They have to stop hiding behind what they're told and hiding behind the policies and start manning up and taking personal responsibility. Like Rick was saying, a poor little child that they know is being assaulted over and over and over again. They just didn't do anything about it. So that's so wrong. And whether or not Elder is 88 years old or 108 years old, if he did what he did, there has to be accountability.
Yes, there does.
Yes, ma'am.
Well,
we really appreciate your coming in. I've never heard you before, but I just want you to know, like Rick said, our heart goes out for you, and we have, concern for what you have been through and the pain I hear in your voice.
It's not pretty. And to hear someone come on and laugh and say, well, this person shouldn't be held accountable.
Well, I don't know if he exactly said that, but I understand about, what you said, laughing. It's hard for people to understand when they haven't gone through it themselves.
Yeah,
so
that's why I said what I did about, and I apologize.
Well, you have nothing to apologize for, Gigi. Not at all. We're just so glad that you're here.
Comes across that way, to me, is somebody that deserves what happened to us.
That is a good point. Wow, I never thought of it that way. You're so right.
Wake up and smell the coffee.
Any of the victims deserve?
When the penis is in your butt.
That sounds so horrifically painful. Horrifically painful. So many children have suffered that.
Gigi?
Yes?
This is Rick from Central Florida. I was thinking about that when you were being interrupted before by that other fellow that seems to irritate everybody. That a good saying I've always gone by was something like that.
It's that kind. I'm sorry, but it's that kind of person that needs somebody to bend them over.
Yeah, or at the very least, don't be throwing stones in glass houses.
That's pretty disgusting. So you come on here and say that about me.
Oh, come on. I'll meet you out back at the gym and settle it out there. You want to do that, Big Mike?
Mike.
You want to meet me out back at the gym tonight?
That's what happened to me.
Well, I don't think, I would, but I don't know where you live, so sorry.
You would?
You wouldn't either, because you ain't good enough to get a piece of this.
I guarantee you won't be able to talk for 2-3 weeks.
Well, you want my address?
Oh, God.
Button it up and
I love
be
you and your
respectful.
little Pee-wee Peter.
All right, let's go with this. So we're gonna move on and get some more stories. But Gigi, don't be a stranger.
Okay.
Don't be a stranger.
I won't. I apologize for being such a butt about everything, but week after week I sit and listen to him chime in on all this and that and taking up for the Watchtower. Go back to the Watchtower and stay the hell off of here.
Yeah, well, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yes, Constance.
Yeah, you're a bitch.
Mike,
Whoa!
that's it.
I am. You better believe I am. And I would be the bitch that made a bitch out of you.
You can help with that now? Well,
that means I'll be the bitch that makes a girl out of you.
You kiss your mother.
Hello, Rick.
Now?
Yes, Constance.
No, I'm not one of.
You know, Rick, I was going to say, see, this is what's so important about your show, honey. There are so many people that are listening in the background that have been severely wounded, and many of them don't speak up because of their pain. And you know, Gigi, I don't know you, love, but I do love you, and I'm sorry for the pain that you have gone through. You know, people like Mike, he needs to have a filter on his mouth, and he doesn't. And, you know, thank you, honey, so much for speaking up. My loved one was sexually sodomized. Yes. So my heart goes out to you, love. And we are all here to heal. So that's why, you know, Rick, we got to be careful of Mike. Yeah, my heart goes out to this sister. It really does.
Yeah, well, Gigi, thank you. And my heart goes out for you. And all of the listeners' heart goes out for you, Gigi. Thank you for being a listener of the Six Screens and speaking up. Thank you, Gigi.
Thank you. And yes, I am a bitch.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. All right, let's move on. Now, listen, we got a lot of people unmuted. Thank you. We got a lot of people unmuted. You know, I'm really asking, you know, I hate to have to mute everyone. It gets to be a pain in the neck. You know, remember now that phone, when you have that phone unmuted, it's a microphone. I can't emphasize this enough. Hold your hand over it. If you have it unmuted, don't have all this noise. But, you know, if you got 25 phones coming on here unmuted, there's a lot of noise coming through my studio here. It's hard to really make it a good program. So work with me, please. Please work with me. And all right, so let's move on. Unless someone wants one more thought before we move on out of this story of child molestation. Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Rick?
Yes.
Hi, Rick. Hi, everybody. It's Mary from a long time ago.
Hello, Mary.
I'm headed to the race. Hey, hi. If anybody remembers me, I was on the first time I came on, I was on the show with Johnny a few years ago. I think probably 9 years ago. I'm on my way to some speedway races. I just wanted to say hi to everybody and encourage everybody to make sure that you take time out for yourselves and have some fun, because the witnesses never let us have fun, and we were shamed and guilted when we did, unless we did it their way. So have fun. You know, this show is fun. I just appreciate everybody. Sorry I haven't been on for 3 years. I'm just recovered from a brain injury, and so it was really hard for me to socialize and be able to think straight, but I'm fully recovered, and I just want to say hello to everybody.
Well, hello, Mary, and thank you for chiming in with us. Talk to us again. Call us up in a couple of weeks and say hello to us. Spend a little time with us. Thank you.
I would love to. Can I also, if anybody's out there listening, what I really could use help with, seriously, is that I live in a really small town, and these witnesses are so nasty. And, you know, I've been, you know, I'm an apostate, I've been to fellowship and everything, but, you know, it's like I have the Holy Spirit now. I have Jesus in my life. And it took me a long time to even want to read the Bible or anything because of the witnesses. I thought I was leaving, you know, God's organization. But it's really hard for me because I'm an empath. You know, I'm empathetic. I run into them everywhere. I can't go anywhere without running into a couple of them, and they are so arrogant and prideful. They don't realize. And I try to help them, but it makes me sick it literally physically makes me ill to be around them in the post office, the grocery store. It's like,
Well, listen, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? You take off, go to the races. And you come in here, and we'll be able to discuss some things further with you in the future. So thank you, Mary, for checking in with us.
I really appreciate you, Rick, and I appreciate everybody's comments. And hang in there, everybody, wherever you're at, like how far out you are. It took me a long time to unwind from that place. So,
well, it sounds like
thank you, Rick, for
sounds like you're almost completely unwound. So that's great, Mary. Thank you. All right.
I would like to get to the point to help the witnesses, but they're really dead set here, like where I'm at. They are very, they're just so dogmatic, and they really think they have the truth, and they really, really don't.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
No. Oh, well.
Well,
Okay,
all right.
thank
Well,
you.
you're doing good, and we love you, Mary. Don't you ever change. Thank you. Hey, we got someone in there. We hear a bunch of coughing. Who's that? A man? You want to come in? Go ahead, sir. Who's that wants to come in? Somebody's on there. I've been hearing you breathing deep and coughing. Who is that?
That might have been me.
Yeah. Well, what you want to do is keep your phone when it's unmuted, put something over it. So what would you like to say?
Well, I just wanted to say that, whenever you try to call up Watchtower and, you confront them on something, they tell you that to write them a note. So I was like, well, what's your email number? And they'd be like, no email. You have to. I said, what, the snail mail? And they're like, yeah. It's like, oh, so you want me to mail it to Pony Express also? And, because I was being sarcastic back because they were being sarcastic. And, shortly thereafter is when we were having that protest rally right up there at World Headquarters in the new place. And even though it was raining out, boy, they turned those sprinklers on us, and they really showed us who they were.
Yeah, they did. So who was this? Because I was up there too. So who was this here on the phone?
This is Rick from Central Florida.
What was your name?
Rick, like yours?
Oh, Rick, like mine. I'm sure I met you there. I met everybody who was up there. But thank you for being up there and protesting.
Probably.
You're a man after my own heart. Thank you. Thank you, Rick.
They were turning the turn.
Yeah, they put the hoses on us. Yeah, go ahead, Dick.
Yeah, just a quick thought on that point. They turn the hoses on us. What's the scripture says? Return evil to evil to no one. And there's the Watchtower putting the hoses on us.
There you go. Well, thank you, Rick. Thanks for checking in with us. Let's move to the next story. We're gonna go to another story here, and I like this story, friends. I keep telling you, I get very excited. I get very, very excited when I hear governments coming down on the witnesses. Now, right now, we got France, the country of France. They are really looking into the witnesses. Now, you might have heard of them. I've heard of them before. It's a crazy name. It's called the Miviludes. Jehovah's Witnesses take the Miviludes to court. So you say, well, who are the Miviludes? Well, that is a European institution, you could say. And they study groups like the Jehovah's Witnesses. They study cults. And they see how aberrant and strange they are, and they report to the government. The Miviludes, that's the name they go by. And we've talked about them on here before, but now the Miviludes are being sued by the Jehovah's Witnesses. And they're being sued because the Jehovah's Witnesses don't like what the Miviludes are saying about them. In fact, in a publication that just came out recently, as a matter of fact, just the 16th of March. Well, that's just a couple of days ago, right? That's only 3 days ago. So they had a publication come out in France on the activity of Jehovah's Witnesses. And boy, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they went ballistic. They went ballistic because Jehovah's Witnesses are alleging that the Miviludes reports were not correct, that they were trying to denigrate the Jehovah's Witnesses, trying to make them to come to be like a harmful cult. Well, isn't that what they are? Jehovah's Witnesses are profoundly concerned. If someone's in there mumbling in the background, could you stop doing that, please? Really, it's a little annoying. Just, you don't have to do that. You can leave your phone unmuted, but don't make comments like this, okay? It'll help me a lot. It really would. I got a lot of people coming through here. So Jehovah's Witnesses, they're very upset. They're profoundly concerned with what these Miviludes are saying about them. The Miviludes are saying that, the Jehovah's Witnesses are saying the Miviludes are showing the Jehovah's Witnesses discrimination. The Miviludes are using hate speech and inevitably a hate crime. This is what the Jehovah's Witnesses are accusing the Miviludes of being and writing about them. So what's interesting here is these Miviludes, they recognize the Jehovah's Witness. They don't call them a cult in France. They call them a sect. But they're saying that these Miviludes are not telling the truth. Well, I know the Miviludes are telling the truth, and all you guys listening on this program tonight, you know the Miviludes are telling the truth. Jehovah's Witnesses are a dangerous cult. And, they're accusing the Miviludes of hate speech. Yeah. But, I came across something in a 92 Watchtower, July 15th. And listen to what this says. They're encouraging hatred. The Jehovah's Witnesses in this Watchtower are encouraging Jehovah's Witnesses to hate people. Now listen to this, that 92 Watchtower. The obligation to hate lawlessness also applies to all activity by apostates. Our attitude apostates should be that of David, who declared, "Do I not hate those who are intensely hating you, O Jehovah?" So encouraging people to hate apostates. Now, modern day apostates, they're saying, have made common cause with the man of lawlessness and the clergy of Christendom. So here the witnesses are accusing the Miviludes of calling them a hate group. Well, wouldn't you say they are? Wouldn't you say they are after that 92 Watchtower saying that you have to hate apostates, hate people that are leaving Jehovah's Witnesses? What do you think of that? I mean, don't you love it? Don't you love it when you see these countries coming down on the witnesses? And we got more reports here tonight on countries coming down on the witnesses as well. Okay, what do you think? You want to open up the lines? Go ahead, say hello. All right, so yeah, I think most people on here do agree that they are a hate group. There's no doubt about it. Yeah, we've reported on these Miviludes before, and what they do is they follow cults in France, and they report on it. Look, at some countries, they take the advice of people who study cults. Cults hurt countries financially. Cults break families apart. Jehovah's Witnesses is a classic example of that. When they break families apart, what do you think happens? For the most part, in many cases, if a man gets up, he's a Jehovah's Witness man, and, he doesn't want to be with his wife anymore because she's not a witness. So he runs off and leaves her with 2 or 3 little kids. She has to get help in many cases from the state. That costs the state money. So, the state, they want to learn about cults. The state wants to know what are these people doing to make citizens in our country feel good? What's the citizens doing to make us feel happy? So it's an interesting thing. So kudos to the Miviludes. So that's good. All right, let's move on. Jussie Smollett. You know who I'm talking about? Jussie Smollett. Well, I mean, he was in court this week.
Who's the actor?
I'm sorry, sir.
Isn't he the actor that said he was beat up by Donald Trump's people because he was gay and he was black?
Smollett, he likes to bend over.
Oh, Mike, will you knock it off? Crying aloud. Put the 6-pack away and take a cold shower, would you please? Really?
Well, no, Smollett, he's a homo.
All right, knock it off. All right, let's see if we got Jussie here. Let's see if we can't get that clip up here. All right, just trying to get the clip. But anyways, Let me just see if I can't find that clip. Darn it, when I go to find something, I can't. There's always something going on here. Well, let me tell you about the clip anyway. So let me tell you what happened with Jussie. His name is actually Jussie. I'm saying Jesse, but it's Jussie Smollett, and we know all about it. He was going crazy, and he went to prison for acting very unruly and accusing. Well, he got attacked. Well, let's go back to that. It was about probably a year ago, and he claimed that he was attacked by racists, and it never happened. He made the whole story up. So he's going to go to jail for making it up, and he'll be in there for a while. I wish I could find that. Let me find it right here. Jesse, let's see. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can't get in here. I really want to play this for you because it's so fascinating to me, because the witnesses, well, they were sucking up to him because he was kind of, getting into the witness world a little bit that I didn't realize. But let's see if we can't find that clip and bring him on here. Okay, boy, oh boy, okay. Just give me a second. Yeah, I put certain clips up here. Then, of course, I can't find them. But we'll find it here. Let's go down a little bit. This story was important because the witnesses, they've been writing letters like crazy lately. And in the process of writing these letters, a lot of people getting irritated because of them doing this. But let's get the video up right now. I got it right here. So let's get it up. Let's play it. If you're on
Jussie Smollett was released from
this is a YouTube guy that's describing him, but I want you to hear. It's only a 3-minute clip. But let me do this. Let me get in and let me put it up so you guys can see it on YouTube. So what I got to do is I got to share this particular screen. Let's do that right now. My Chrome tab. Okay. And let's see. We've been ready to bring. Well, friends, I can't find it. I'm sorry. I hate to do that to you. But anyways, let me just get to the point here. Evidently, what happened is Jussie, he was a friend of Prince. And, of course, we know Prince was a Jehovah's Witness. And, of course, he died a few years ago. We know. But evidently, the one man that brought Prince into the so-called truth, he was with Sly in the Family Stones. I believe his name was Larry Graham. And so he brought Prince in. And then Prince was trying to recruit Jussie. He was trying to get Jussie into the witnesses. And then Jussie pulled that stunt out in Chicago when he claimed he was attacked by racists, and he never was. So anyways, he went to court and they sentenced him the other day. I forget how long he's got to go. It wasn't for a long time, but he's got to go to jail over this. And the report that was on the news in Chicago is that witnesses, when he went to jail, witnesses were writing him letters. And he got all these letters in the jailhouse. And it seemed like the witnesses were really going gangbusters. I mean, the prison got filled with letters. But, they have this letter writing campaign. That's how they get their time in. Now, by letter writing. And the letter writing to witnesses all over. But see, I tell you what. Jehovah's Witnesses continue to trying to recruit more people all the time. They're trying to recruit more people. It's just amazing to me. That's what a cult has to do, by the way. A cult has to recruit people. They can't just get people normally. They got to go out and try their best to recruit them into the cult. And any comments on that? Did anyone hear the story at all? Any comments at all on that? Come on, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead. Yep. Go ahead.
Hello?
You're on with us. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, this is Annie from Montreal.
Yes, Annie. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. Yeah, with regards to the hate speech, I know there was an article, and it goes way back, so this is nothing new with the Jehovah's Witnesses. It was in 1950 or 52, I think, where they, in one of the, I think it's the Watchtower or the Awake, I don't remember, but where they said, you know, if we could, being barred by the laws of the land, and we can't kill apostates. But you know, in other words, that was in their heart. You know, they wanted. That's how much hatred they had for apostates. I wish I could remember the exact number of the article, but it was in Awake magazine or Watchtower magazine with regards to apostates.
Yes.
So I just.
Well, Annie, thank you for sharing that. But yeah, that's they don't show much love, do they?
No, and I mean 1952. That's like I think most current JWs don't know even about that, you know, because it's so long ago. So it's just been their mindset really right from the beginning, you know, to criticize anyone who criticizes them. So it's not really surprising that they're now continuing that attitude, you know, hate apostates and all that.
Yeah,
so
well,
really basically all
it's pretty bad, isn't it? It really is.
Yeah, and I can't think of any other church ever, you know, saying things like that. So right there, they're showing their true colors, you know, that they're not Christian at all.
Not at all. Well, Annie, always good to hear from you, calling in from Montreal, Canada. My goodness, don't you be a stranger. Thanks for dialing in and being with us tonight. Are you watching YouTube, by the way, or Facebook?
Facebook.
Is it coming through? Is it coming?
Just another quick thought, if I could.
Hold on one second, Dick.
This is
Hold on one second. I just Annie, is it coming through all right on Facebook?
Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. All right, Dick, go ahead.
Yeah, that's just that he just called in and mentioned that Jehovah's Witnesses had said in the 50s that if the government would allow it, the Jehovah's Witness organization would get an apostate and kill them. And you know, you're supposed to obey God as ruler rather than man. So if God wants disfellowship people or apostates killed, why isn't the governing body coming out and sending out a hit team to kill all the apostates? I know me and you would be their first targets.
Well, there's a lot that would be the first targets, really, Dick. Yeah. Unbelievable, huh? Yeah. Well, thank you, Dick. Thank you for checking in. Now, if you would just mute yourself, hit *6 if you would, okay? And just mute yourself, and that'll be good, boy. Because if I can get this under control, because what we're gonna have to start doing, maybe even next week, is we won't be able to have calling in like we have been because our audience is getting so big. So what we're probably going to have to land up doing is just like radio stations do, screening people before they come on. As it is now, we started off as a conference call, and people could just call in at random like we're all sitting around. But what it is phones are being unmuted and kept unmuted. And the noise and the confusion, and I'm in my studio and I hear dishes rattling and TVs going off and all of this. So we might have to, beginning next week, I'm going to try it. You know, we've been saying for years here where we could just keep it all down and work with the rules here, but it's just almost impossible. So we might have to start like a radio format. We might have to do away with everyone just calling in at random. Hate to say it, but we might have to do it that way. All right. So anyways, and like I say, even if you do have your phone unmuted, if you want to speak up and talk, cover it over. It's a microphone. All right. I know I hate to say it every week. I know I'm saying it, but I want to be able to keep the program like we've had it. But it looks like because we have such a large audience coming in now that we're going to have to change. All right. Let's go to Iceland. My goodness, Iceland. In the news. Again, here's another country. We just heard about France. Now we get Iceland. And it looks like they may be removing the religious organization's funding for Jehovah's Witnesses. Yes. So we had last week, we learned about Sweden. And the week before that, we learned about Norway. And we know other countries, too, are looking into this. This is going to spread like wildfire. So Iceland looks like they're going to take the funding away from the Jehovah's Witnesses, which will be wonderful. And in fact, I'll read you part of the article. I got an article here for a newspaper from from Iceland. It says, after former members of the Jehovah's Witnesses in Iceland came forward on the news discussion show, it was a TV show in Iceland, where they recounted psychological abuse and being shunned by their families after being forced out of their faith. So there was a TV program evidently in Iceland, and a number of former Jehovah's Witnesses came on and reported to the station that they were being shunned and their family wasn't speaking with them. So this got the attention of the parliamentary general, and evidently in the nation of Iceland, and now they're looking into the witnesses for their behavior. And the point was being made here. It says, while Iceland has a national church, by Icelandic law, every legally registered religious organization in the country is entitled to some national funding. So if you're a religion in Iceland, just by you being a religion, you would get state funding from Norway. Now, a lot of countries do that throughout Europe and Scandinavia. But, you know, there's certain rules that those who are receiving the funding have to abide by. And those rules are that there's supposed to be redeeming value. There's supposed to be socially redeeming value to the person who belongs to your organization. Now, would you think that being a Jehovah's Witness and being shunned and thrown out of the Kingdom Hall and your family's not even speaking to you, does that have any socially redeeming value? The answer is no. The answer is absolutely no. So now Iceland is saying, you know, we're more than likely going to have to pull the plug on Jehovah's Witnesses. Now, the thing I liked here, this really got my ears tickled. So now they're saying here that the shunning, the bad policies in the Watchtower are getting the attention internationally. Did you catch that? Internationally. This is going to spread like wildfire. You know what this is doing for me? And it should be doing this for you. If you're sitting there and you have relatives that are shunning you and you have family members, you should lift your head erect. You should get up and do the happy dance. And the reason why I'm saying that is they're gonna see this. The countries are going to be so against the witnesses. I know they're going to call it persecution at first. They're going to call it persecution. But they're taking money away. These countries are taking money away from the witnesses. They can call it whatever you want. I'm calling it hit you right in the wallet. That's what I call it. And that's what has to be done with this organization. You got to take the money away from them. Aren't they doing that the same with Putin? Aren't they doing that to him right now? They're trying to take his money away. Because without money, you can't do a thing. So that's what's going to happen with the witnesses. Take all this money away. Let them pay all this money out in lawsuits. People aren't giving like they used to the Watchtower. So this could really be a real problem for the Watchtower. So just cut the funding off, and I believe we'll see Watchtower in big time trouble. Any comments on that? You're with us. Hit *6 if you like. Don't you love it? Yeah, go ahead. I think we got Anne-Marie. I think we got Constance. Go ahead, Anne-Marie.
Thank you. You know, usually when something is going to hit the Watchtower in the pocketbook, they will do and say or undo and unsay whatever it takes to get that money flowing into their coffers. However, I strongly doubt, although it would make financial sense, I strongly doubt that the Watchtower would say, we've got new light. We realize that it's not Christian to shun members who have left. We realize we should show love. So you can now reach out to your apostate family and friends. They can't do that because if they do, witnesses might actually listen to what those ex-members have been wanting to tell them for so long. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you.
Hey, Rick?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, to Anne Marie's point, they did that back in the late 70s, they had an article come out. It said show love to erring ones, and they get rid of the mandate to not to talk to disfellowship people. And they went and they said, bring them to your house, give them meals, be nice to them, and win them back into the religion or the cult. And that was in the late 70s. They did that. And then they turned around and about 6 months after that article came out, they went back to their shunning policy. It just goes to show you that our Heavenly Father's Holy Spirit doesn't run in that organization. Either our Heavenly Father's Holy Spirit doesn't know what it's doing, or the governing body members are liars. There's your two options. Thank you.
Well, good. Thank you, Dick. I think we had another female on there, another woman's voice I think I heard.
Constance.
Yeah, hi Rick, it's Constance.
Yes, Constance.
I was going to say, this is really exciting news, Rick, because, for many of us who've been out for a long, long time, we know that this organization is nothing more than just a business corporation in the disguise of a so-called religion. But, with any kind of corporation, if you really want to cripple them, you hit them, like you say, right in the pocketbook. That's where you hit them. So for, witnesses that are in or PMOs that are in, that we're really telling the truth, which we are, you want to cripple this organization and we all want vindication. You just stop making the donations to the organization. That's what you do. And when the worldwide, the world is looking at Watchtower internationally and they're affecting them financially, Rick, oh my gosh, Watchtower is really going to be impacted by all this. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So thank you so much for bringing this news up, Rick. And we are all doing our happy dance because there have been so many broken families, broken lives, suicides, everything else from this organization. And I'm really glad to finally see that justice is starting to take place. And Rick, it's also Watchtower and all their evil deeds are all being exposed. And that's the beautiful thing about all this. It's not just us ex-JWs, it's the world at large is looking at Watchtower and they're realizing that they're making the most of their 501(c)(3)s, not having to pay any taxes on their real estate, and yet they're running all the way to the bank and laughing. And so, this is really, really great news, Rick. So thank you so much.
Yeah, isn't it good news, Constance? It really, really is. I mean, I feel good about it. I really do, because, I've always said it, we have a bunch of activists, YouTubers, and we got people who write books, and we got people doing pro broadcasts like this. But, we can only do so much. We can only do so much. But you got these governments. Oh, my goodness, the governments. We're talking millions of dollars. And the government's exposing these bums. And, boy, they're really seeing, I'm going to tell you, talk about bringing reproach upon Jehovah's name. Sheesh. I mean, if I was a witness, I wouldn't know what to do. I don't think I'd call it persecution. I really don't. I would have to take an honest look at this and say, why is the Watchtower in so much trouble? Why are they in so much trouble? But, they're gonna put,
Rick.
yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Rick, it's Roland again. I mean, I've just been listening to the others and like with them, I'm absolutely over the moon with this news. But don't you see a domino effect happening now? First it was sort of Norway, Hungary, Australia, Iceland. It's like a domino effect now. The governments are getting wise to these people, and it's about time. They've been milking these governments for long enough, and yet they claim to hate governments. They claim to hate anything that's not JW, and yet they're quite happy to milk the money from them. They're quite happy to take the handouts that they get from them. They're quite happy to have the tax-free bonuses from them. The governments are now getting wise, and I think now you'll see a domino effect, particularly across Europe now. I think a lot of Europe now, it'll be one country after another now. They'll all start seeing them for what they are, and hopefully they'll all start taking the money away from them.
Well, I'm with you, Roland. Thank you. Thank you for commenting. Yeah, so we've got now listen to this story. This is the next story coming up. Idaho, way out there in Idaho. So here we got another story of child pedophilia in the organization. An Idaho man sentenced to 30 years in prison for sexually abusing a 14-year-old girl, and he is a Jehovah's Witness church leader. That's the headlines. That's the headlines out of Pocatello, Idaho. A 34-year-old local man whose felony sex crime case was quietly adjudicated because of a 2020 judicial order to seal was sentenced to 30 years in state prison Wednesday. Okay. So we got a guy here now going to get 30 years in prison. David Savalos, Brother Savalos of Pocatello, Idaho. Well, he's in big time trouble. He was charged with felony first-degree kidnapping, felony lewd conduct with a child under 16. After police, now listen to this. It says after police say he snuck a then 14-year-old girl out of her bedroom window. So this Brother Savalo, he goes to the 14-year-old girl's house and had her climb down the window. And then he had her get a 14-year-old girl here, Jehovah's Witness girl. He had the Jehovah's Witness 14-year-old girl jump in the car with him. And they went driving down to a construction site. This is at night. And so they were in the back seat. And of course, all the windows were fogged up. You can wonder why that was happening, right? So there the car was. It was parked there in the construction site with the headlights off. Yeah, we had some problems going on here. So a neighbor reported it to the cops. She called the police department and said, hey, there's a car, headlights off, and it's parked over there, and I don't like what might be going on. So the police went out and they checked it out. And sure enough, upon arrival at the scene, the officers observed a man later identified as Brother Savalos. Yes. Well, he was crawling from the back seat to the front seat of the car while pulling up his pants. That's what the police said, adding that all the windows in the vehicle were fogged up. So here we got a 14-year-old girl that was wearing a swimsuit bottom, and when she's climbing out of the car, she grabbed a pair of her panties from the rear floorboard. So, I mean, what's going on here? So Brother Savalos, he's 30 years old, got this 14-year-old girl in the back of his car, but he's saying nothing really happened. Nothing really happened. He just said he was just speaking and talking with the girl. Well, I don't think you're going to have your pants off. I mean, that's a bad defense, isn't it? Come on. I mean, are criminals and crooks getting stupider? I'm beginning to think they are. Geez, you catch a guy crawling out of the back seat with no pants on, and the girl back there just wearing the bottom part of a bathing suit. I mean, one thing can only come to your mind. So he says, no, he wasn't doing much. He was kind of talking with her and hugging her and kissing her a little bit, but they certainly weren't doing anything. Do you believe that?
And they weren't playing Twister.
Jeez. I mean, I'm reading this right from the paper, folks. I'm not even going to read it all to you because it gets kind of graphic, but I'm not going to get into that. Might be kids listening, but this is the type of stuff that's going on in Jehovah's clean organization. This is, oh my goodness. I read stories like this every week. I can't take it anymore. How many perverts? Bill Bowen years ago when he said that Jehovah's Witnesses are a pedophile paradise. Bill, I believe you. I believe you 100%. Of course, he's the ex-witness elder that had the website Silent Lambs. He still has it. But this is just absolutely unbelievable. I have stories here every week. But one thing that really bothered me about this, so, when these pedophiles show up in court, all the Jehovah's Witnesses in the congregation, for the most part, They come and they're there to help their brother. Yeah, I'm serious. Now, I don't know how many witnesses showed up here, but I know his wife did. Yeah, his wife, Brother Savallo's wife. Well, she showed up in court and she acted like it was really nothing. Yeah, she more or less took it as normal business. I mean, is that how you would take it? Is that how you would take it if your husband was found having sex? Let's go with that. Sex with a minor? Wouldn't you be kind of wanting to put handcuffs on him yourself and lug him off to jail? That's how I think most wives would feel, but not Brother Caballo's
Hey, Rick?
wife. Yes.
You know, when you hear these stories every week, I know, and you go over them, but really, that the wife needs as much help as the husband. If she allows him to do this, or if she's not upset about this type of behavior, do they study the Bible or what? I mean, what are they doing at the Kingdom Hall? I can't imagine for these people to be performing these horrible crimes to people that are children. A 14-year-old is a child, depending upon how mature they are at the age of 14. But I cannot believe that these people are studying they say they study the Bible, and they say that they have the truth, and they say that the governing body is the only channel from Jehovah to them, and the Bible only speaks through the governing body. Well, it can't be so, because if that were true, you wouldn't have the sister sitting in court with her husband thinking it's okay. Would you let your 14-year-old daughter in a car with a 30-year-old man at night in the back seat? I don't think so. I don't understand these people. I just don't. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Susan. And I wanted to bring out too, there was a lot of comments. It wasn't written in the paper, but Cavallo here, he was actually, he was a Spanish brother. Let's go with that. And what it was saying, a lot of comments were written that they said the Spanish people, and I'm not in any way, I'm not going to really say that they're any different than anybody else, but a lot of people seem to think that. But in the Spanish culture, they were saying that many Spanish people, they think it's okay for an older man to be, you know, to have a girlfriend a lot younger than them. So some were writing comments and saying that, you know, this is pretty much the way it is, but I'm going to stand up for all the Spanish people. Not all Spanish people would do this. Not all Spanish Jehovah's Witnesses would do this. So I thought it was a little offensive that I read that. Okay, we got time for one more. Yeah, go ahead. One more comment. We got to keep it quick. We got to move on. Go ahead, Braden.
Oh, hey there. So I've got a good one for you, Rick. A quick one, but a good one.
Well, okay. Well, why don't you? Okay, go ahead. You want to save it for Apostate's Good Talent? Do you want to do it here?
I'll do it here. I've got plenty for later.
Okay.
A woman gets on the bus with her baby. The bus driver says, "That's the ugliest baby I have ever seen." Ugh. The woman goes to the rear of the bus and sits down, fuming. She says to a man next to her, "The driver just insulted me." The man says, "You go right up there and tell him off. Go ahead. I'll hold your monkey for you."
All right. Well, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Well, listen,
just a quick thought, if I could.
Yeah, we don't have too much time here, folks, but I got about 2 minutes, and I really got to cut short. Go ahead, Dick.
Rick, one of the things that the Jehovah's Witnesses have always preached, at least to me when I first came in, was that Jehovah's Holy Spirit goes through the congregation, and if there's anybody doing anything wrong, the Holy Spirit will tell the elders, and the elders will do an investigation. They'll find out who the bad person is, and they will disfellowship him because Jehovah wants his organization to be squeaky clean. Well, that was a lie, and his organization certainly is not squeaky clean, and probably the biggest perverts there are in the governing body. Thanks, Rick.
Oh, there you go. Would you trust your kids with the governing body? I wouldn't trust an animal with them, really. I think Constance was on. Constance, you on there too? Go ahead.
Thank you, Rick. I didn't want to be rude there and interrupt. I was going to say, honey, in reference to what your wife just said, you know, it's very difficult to wrap around your head how this man's wife could show up in the court of law and like defend her husband. It really comes down to this. She is, I just lost my thought. She's just, delusional is what she is. They don't really want to see the truth. They're in denial. That's the word I'm thinking of. She's in denial. And a lot of JWs are in denial because, if she really doesn't see it any differently, her whole world's going to be rocked and destroyed. So like, oh my God, my husband's not only committing adultery, but, he's a pedophile. So it's so much easier for her to not even believe the truth, to just have all sorts of excuses to cover it up. And that's, that's true of a lot of JWs. Until they get to the point where they really take off the rose-colored glasses and see, what's going on, the truth as it really is, with whether it's pedophilia or just the lies of the organization or whatever. So thank you, Rick.
All right. Well, thank you, Constance. And we want to thank everyone for coming in tonight and commenting here on JW World News. Now, look, we are going to Apostate's Got Talent. It's a brand new program debuting next right here on the Six Screens Tell the Network. So why don't you stay in with us? We have a bunch of apostates coming in, ex-witnesses that have talent, and they're going to want to display it tonight. They're going to showcase it tonight right here on the Six Screens. So by all means, hang in with us. And listen, if you're on YouTube and you're on Facebook, we're going to discontinue this program. It'll go blank on YouTube and Facebook, but check back in, same YouTube channel, Rick Farron on YouTube, and on Facebook, it's Rick Farron Six Screens. So check that out, and you can watch it on Facebook, the talent coming in. It's going to be a really good program, so looking forward to it. So thank everyone for coming in, and I'm going to bring Anne Marie in right now. Anne Marie, you there with us?
Right here, Rick.
All right, so we're going to bring Anne Marie in, and she's going to fill the gap. We're going to have about a probably 10, 15-minute little break here. Well, I have to send links off, and I got to get the people coming in. So Anne Marie is going to go at it, and she has some things she's going to say. But in the meantime, the last one leaving the Watchtower, by all means, turn off the new light. And if you're on YouTube and you want to listen to more programming on the Six Screens, look in the description bar below, as well as the description bar on Facebook. And just click the links and follow the prompts, and you'll be able to get all you want out of the Six Screens and all of the programs we do here every week. Thank you very much. All set, Anne Marie.
Well,